Hey everybody, Redwin here, and welcome to my draft analysis video for PTG. This is a Switch League, so all the matches will be happening on the Switch unless there are DCs. If there are DCs, the matches will continue on Showdown, but they'll continue move for move until we get to the turn of the DC. And so, but anyway, this is PTG, and so yeah, and this is my draft analysis for PTG. So yeah, my first pick is Salamence, and I picked Salamence because he's really good, and I really wanted like a really good dragon type, and Salamence gets the abilities Intimidate and Moxie, which are two really good abilities, where if I knock out a Pokemon, Salamance's attack goes up by one stage with Moxie, or I have Intimidate where he can lower an opponent's attack by one stage. Plus he gets like Wish, and so that's really good. So that's why I picked Salamence. And plus he gets like Flamethrower and other stuff. He gets like pretty good coverage, so that's why I picked Salamence. And then my next pick is Togekiss, who I picked in TPL, and I got it back in this league. So yeah, I picked Togekiss because it gets the ability Serene Grace. So I can like use Thunder Wave and then I can use Thunder Wave and then Air Slash and Paraflinch my opponents. So yeah, and so that's why I picked Togekiss, is because then I have a chance at Paraflinching my opponents. Plus I can go for like Heat Wave and like Dazzling Gleam and Flamethrower, and yeah, and I have like other coverage moves besides that, but Togekiss gets some decent coverage moves, and so that's why I picked Togekiss, because it can also be like decently bulky. And so yeah, that's why I picked Togekiss. Now my next pick, we got two A-tier picks, and my next pick was Mamoswine. And I'm very glad about this pick. I got this pick in PML, the league where I actually didn't record it, but I got kicked out because I was being a poor sport. And they thought I was only like 14 years old, but no, I'm not. I'm 22, almost 23, and I'll be 23 in June. So apparently they thought I was way younger than I actually am. I'm almost 23 years old, and they thought that I was like 14. So yeah, anyway, I got kicked out of that league for being a poor sport and for being salty and just like not being very respectful. But I've learned my lesson, and yeah, and I'm moving past that. But anyways, my next pick is Mamoswine. And I really like Mamoswine because he's a decent ice and ground. He's a really good ice and ground type Pokemon. And he gets decent coverage moves like Earthquake and Ice Shard, Icicle Crash. If you want to run Freeze Dry on him, you can. If you really want to run Freeze Dry on him, you can. But he also gets like Rock Slide, and then he gets Knock Off, which is interesting. And so that's why I picked Mamoswine, is because he's not the fastest in the world, but he can hit hard with his ice type attacks, and he can eat up a fire or ice type attack because of the thick fat ability, and that is why I picked Mamoswine. Now my next pick, and my first B tier pick, sorry about the jet in the background, we get a lot of jets at my house. So sorry about the jet in the background. I'm kind of talking as loud as I can here. Anyway, seems like the jet is finally going away. Anyways, my next pick is Wheezing, Kanto Wheezing, who you might know that I had it in PML, even though I didn't record that season of Draft League that I got kicked out of, but I've used it in DLC Season 2, which I didn't really record, and then I used it in DLC 2.5, which, yeah, I used it in DLC 2.5, but then I didn't get to use it in DLC Season 3, but now I'm using it, and I got to use it in PML until I got kicked out, and now I'm using it in PTG. So I'm pretty excited about this because I really love Kanto Wheezing, and it's just really good defensively, and it gets like Will-O-Wisp, and then it can burn things with Will-O-Wisp or poison them with like toxic spikes or toxic, but it can burn things with Will-O-Wisp, and then it can also go for like Dark Pulse, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, Sludge Wave, Sludge Bomb, Shadow Ball. And then it can also use Haze to remove stat changes, so that's really good. And for Weezing's very bulky defense stat, and because he gets the Levitate ability, and the moves I just mentioned, that is why I picked Weezing, to be a very physically bulky Pokemon, and to be able to hit hard with special attacks and cripple Pokemon with poison or burns, and be able to eat up ground type attacks by having the Levitate ability, and that is why I picked Weezing. Now my next pick here is Heliolisk, who I had for the first time in PML, but then I got kicked out of that league, like I said earlier. So now I get to use Heliolisk again in PTG. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to use Heliolisk. It's really fast and has decent special attack, and it gets the ability, and it gets some pretty good abilities that have to do with the sun. It gets like Dry Skin, which is pretty good, so it can like just heal up from water type attacks, but then the sun like hurts it. But then it gets like, I think, Solar Power, which boosts its special attack quite a bit, but it reduces its HP, so that's really good. And then it gets decent coverage because it gets like Thunderbolt, Discharge. I think it gets like Focus Blast, Dark Pulse, it gets Surf. I know it gets U-Turn, I think. It gets Volt Switch. It gets Dark Pulse, it gets Dragon Pulse. It gets Hyper Voice, which is really good. And so yeah, get some decent special attacks. And it gets some decent attacks on the special side. It gets some decent attacks on the special side, and it's like pretty fast. Has a base speed of 109 and a special attack of 109. So that is really good. And so yeah, that is why I picked Heliolisk, is because it's a decent water. It's a decent electric and normal type. So yeah, that is why I picked Heliolisk. Now my next pick that we're going into, and my final B tier pick, is Quagsire. And the reason why I picked Quagsire is because he gets the Unaware ability. So he can he's slow, but he gets the Unaware ability, so that ability ignores stat changes. So it makes it so that way like if, for example, if a Garchomp uses Sword Stance, like, and raises its attack by +2, it'll be like the Garchomp never raised its attack because the unaware ability will ignore the attack boost and will make it like Garchomp never raised its attack. So yeah. So and Quagsire is just really bulky and can eat hits very well because of the unaware ability, and it's a really good water and ground type. And it also does get like Recover, it gets Earthquake, it gets some really good water type moves, Scald, Surf, and it can also use Yawn, which can force switches, which is pretty good. So yeah. So that is why I picked Quagsire. Plus he also gets reliable recovery and recover. And so that is why I picked Quagsire. Now on to my first C tier pick, which I've drafted in every league that I have done myself, besides single team league because I didn't draft in that league. But in every league I've done myself, DLC Season 2, DLC Season 2.5, DLC Season 3, PML, which I got kicked out of, trying to forget about that, and TPL, Pokemon Teams Premier League, and TPL, Pokemon Teams Premier League, it is Gallade. And I picked Gallade again because I really like Gallade because he has a decent attack stat and he has decent special defense, and he gets decent coverage, and so that is why I picked Gallade because he gets like Psycho Cut. He does get Zen Headbutt, but I don't like to miss. He does get Zen Headbutt, Psycho Cut. Sorry about another jet passing through. Like I said, we get a lot of jets at my house. So, sorry about the jet again. But anyways, he gets Psycho Cut, Zen Headbutt. He gets Heliolisk. He gets Poison Jab. He gets Earthquake. He gets Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch. He gets Drain Punch. And I think he even gets Rock Slide, I think. He gets Rock Slide. And so yeah, that is why I picked Gallade. Oh yeah, he even gets like Night Slash and I think Leaf Blade. I know he gets Leaf Blade, but I think he gets Night Slash, maybe not. But I know he does get Knockoff as well, so that's another thing that Gallade gets. And so with all the coverage, with all the physical coverage that he gets, and with his with all the physical coverage he gets, and with the decent attack stat that he has and decent special defense, that is why I picked Gallade. Now my next pick is one that I had in DLC Season 3, and then I drafted it in PML where I got kicked out, and now I drafted it in PTG. And my next pick is Lantern. And I love Lantern. It is just a really good bulky water electric type. Not as good as Rotom because it doesn't get that levitate ability, but still really good. It gets Scald, Surf, Dazzling Gleam if you really want to run a fairy move. And then it gets Ice Beam, and then like Thunderbolt, Discharge. And then it even gets Heal Bell, so it's a Heal Bell user, which is really good. And so yeah. That is why I drafted Lantern. It's a really good bulky water electric type. It gets some decent water and electric type moves and ice beam and ice type moves like Ice Beam and Blizzard, and then it even gets Dazzling Gleam. And it's a Heal Bell user if you want to run Heal Bell on it. So yeah, that is why I drafted Lantern. And now on to one of my next pick. I haven't used this Pokemon before, but I'm going to be using it this season some if a time comes up to use it. And that draft pick is Skuntank. I drafted Skuntank because I was looking at what there was on the board and there wasn't really a lot left that was really good. And so I drafted Skuntank, which is a decent poison and dark type. It's only weak to ground, which is really good. And it gets Flamethrower, and I think it gets Haze, so it can remove stat changes. I think it gets Haze. And then it gets some decent poison type moves, and it gets some dark type moves. And I know it gets Flamethrower, and so yeah. And I know it's a defog user. I know it gets defog, so that's at least something. And so yeah, that is why I drafted Skuntank. It's because it's a decent poison and dark type. And yeah, that is why I drafted Skuntank. Now my last pick is another one I haven't used before. And like I said, there wasn't a lot on the board, and the Pokemon I really wanted got sniped from me. It was from my week 1 opponent, which is the Mid-Valley Meowths. Devin and the Mid-Valley Meowths. I actually wanted Cincino, but it got sniped from me. So my final draft pick is Excelgor. And I know Excelgor is pretty fast, and he gets Bug Buzz, and he can be a user of Final Gambit where you basically just go for Final Gambit, and then you knock out Excelgor with a really hard hit to also do a bunch of damage to weaken your opponent. So I know that that's a thing. And I know he gets Bug Buzz and Giga Drain. And that's pretty much all I know about Excelgor. But yeah, I'm excited to try using Excelgor, and if there's a moment where a time to use Excelgor comes up, I will be using it. And so yeah, that is pretty much my team, and that is my team for PTG for the Utah Mews, and I'll see you guys for my week 1 battle against Devin and the Mid-Valley Meowths. Now this league recording the videos is required, and I will be recording the match every week just in case for the league, in case something happens to my opponent's recording of the battle. And plus just to record it for my YouTube channel. So yeah, I will be recording the matches this season because it is a league where recording the videos, where recording the matches is required. And so yeah, I will be recording the matches for the season of PTG. So yeah, now I'll see you guys in the week 1 battle of PTG, and I'll see you guys then. Redwin out. Oh, and also, this is just a bit of an update. DLC 3.5, Season 3.5 will be coming around late March. My draft analysis will be coming late March. After the signups and the draft is over. Because signups happen mid-March, and I'll sign up when the signups go live mid-March. And And I will be recording the last week of TPL on the day that I am recording this. I will be recording the last battle for TPL week 9, Pokemon Teams Premier League week 9. So yeah, I will be recording that, and yeah. And then DLC 3.5 will be happening late March. I'll get my draft analysis video out after we finish the draft. And yeah. In that season of DLC season 3.5, it will be National Dex. So on Showdown, so get excited for that. And yeah, that will be coming late March. And so be excited for that. And another update, due to draft leagues, Ultra Sun is canceled because I didn't want to have to worry about grinding on Ultra Sun because draft leagues just have me busy, and I want to have some time for me, and so I don't want to have to just worry about grinding for Ultra Sun. So Ultra Sun is canceled, and the Sword Egglock will be pushed back until I'm done with the PTG, and then once DLC 3.5 ends, then the Sword Egglock will be coming out after DLC 3.5 ends. So yeah. Anyways, now that update is out of the way, I'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys then. Regwin out.